Hello there everyone, Ashnflash here and welcome on into a early LEGO Ideas set review. Today we are looking at set number 21337. This is the table football, or as we call it in America, and it said this in my press kit originally, the foosball table. And this set is coming with 2,339 pieces and has a total of 22 minifigures, 44 heads, and 43 hair pieces, retailing for $249.99 USD or $309.99 Canadian, and it'll be available beginning on November the 1st. But I was actually sent this early by Lego/Land to do a review for. And I am very excited about this. I am a very big, I'm going to continue to call it this, so I'm sorry, European friends and everyone else in the world, but we call it foosball here. I'm a very big foosball fan. I have very early memories playing foosball. I think it's one of my first, as well as I played a lot of foosball in high school. So I'm really just so happy to talk about this set, share this set with you guys. There's some really important things that I need to share with you, and if it doesn't interest you, maybe there are different chapters and time codes that you can find all the different stuff that we're going to talk about in the video down below, so you can hop around if you want. But let's go ahead and let's get started with just showing off the functionality of it. So here we are. We've got a bird's eye view of the set. I think this is a really great way to start because this is what you see when you're playing foosball. You're looking down. This is what you see: the field. You see the players and all that. Now, again, it's a smaller table, and I actually had the privilege of being in Denmark with a couple of other land members when they revealed this to us, and they explained why it's smaller, which we'll touch on, but that brought up a couple of different concerns, and there's some problems with that as we go through here. But one of the concerns I had was the foosball ball, and that's because it has a very distinct sound, and I think that this new element that's coming out in 2023, I think in other sets or something like that, being used here, it sounds quite good, and even them hitting it, it does sound a bit like Lego. You know, it doesn't sound exactly like a foosball table, but it's still, I think that it sounds pretty good. Regardless though, one of the issues that I realized while I was playing is a couple of things. One is it goes by so quickly. I think it's because of the size of the table, the fact that there's not 4 in total for each side, there's only 2. I think a lot of people were frustrated with, well, the goalie's not on their own, and things like that. There's no forward and no defense lines and everything. That's not the issue for me. It's that when I played last night, it's so fast to get the ball onto the other side and score. So I think that's really frustrating because it just goes by so quickly. Another thing as well that some people might have a hard time with is you need a level table. That's not really, I guess it is a concern with normal foosball tables, but that allows you to, I think, like the feet would be adjustable, so you can untwist it so that the table will become level. With this, there's no option to do that. So if you have a table that is on an angle, just a slight angle, the ball will constantly go to that side. And sometimes I found last night, because the table again that I was using, it wasn't the I guess the levelist, it would sort of just sit there and you can't reach it. And that was one of the questions I asked them. I said, again, because you'll notice on the edges, there's no roundness. There's no like slope so the ball can roll back down like in normal foosball tables, or even in the corners, there's nothing blocking it. I asked, does the ball get stuck anywhere? And they said, no. I bet you on a level table, it doesn't. But sometimes it'll get stuck in some places. Now, so that's some of the issues that I have with the functionality of it. And of course, when you score, this is probably the worst part of the set, if I'm being honest. I double checked with other land members. I didn't build this wrong or anything like this, but the parts that they used for this are just really bad. I don't understand what they were thinking. This is, by the way, one of the most tested sets in terms of quality, both in the build of this, it needs to be a sturdy build. It's a very heavy set. This needs to, they had this constantly spinning with a robot overnight, left it overnight because they needed to make sure, for whatever reason, that nothing would fall off, that nothing would, you know, just the constant spinning of it, if it would do anything to the set. So it's the most tested set. For it to be the most tested set, and you can't move these. Like, it's impossible to move these to keep score. I don't understand what went wrong here. Like, you're meant to grab this, but I find that while it's cool that they've got the little balls there, the little orbs, it's so difficult. What I did yesterday was I grabbed the piece remover and I slide it across with that, but you're not meant to do that. And what I find when you are getting a point and you're trying to grab the little orb piece here, what happens is sometimes, like, the ball pops off because you're just pushing and pulling so hard to move it and nothing moves. So yeah, I don't like that. I think that definitely should be something else. Like, I can't even move it with the piece remover here. I'm so confused by how they let that happen. So I might come up with a fix for that. I don't know if I'll do that in a separate video. But anyways, I just want to show you here as well something that I really wanted to do and be able to master was, at least in the Lego version, because I can do it in a regular foosball version, but it's difficult because my table is on an angle. But I wanted to be able to pass it and score. It's just everything is, it just moves so quickly and everything. So it's very difficult to do that. I really don't think that you have the time to do that. I've tried so many times to pass it, and I keep struggling with passing it lightly here. And there we go. It's tough. There's not a lot of space here. It's smaller. There's so many things going against playing regularly. Also, something else I just realized here. I wonder if you could do this here. Let's see if it can stand still. Almost. Have you ever seen those people put that on the goalie and then, oh, I did it. Oh, excellent. You can do that. So anyways, for me personally, there's something off about this, and it has to do with this. It's so smooth, and for me, again, I've played a lot of foosball, and you're not supposed to spin it. You know, when you go like this and you spin. You could see, when I do that, it's hard to explain, but as I'm doing that, it is like bending the pole here. It is a little bit, see that? It's flexible. You can bend it a little bit here. So when you're doing that, see how I can't spin this one? It doesn't work like a real foosball table. It doesn't feel like that. There's very little tension here when you're doing this. And I think that is something off with this. And they said that when they were building the original one, the big table, when they tried that, people said it felt off. Like, they had a lot of people play it, professionals even, said something felt off. For me, that's what I'm feeling here. It's too smooth. And as someone who tries to avoid spinning, I found when I was just doing the slightest emotions, like boom, it's so smooth. There's no tension. You're flipping them and you're spinning. Really bothers me that I'm spinning. I'm not trying to, but it's just so easy to with this versus a real foosball table. There's a lot more tension in that, I feel like. Also, you can't hit anyone. I didn't mention that before, but as the other player on the other side is pushing there, you can't hit anyone. I think that that's a really great and important thing as well, because believe me, getting poked with a foosball table, it's not fun. So swapping out the characters, because that's a very large part of this, is you can customize and create your own players and everything like that for the set. So what you do here is you remove the headpiece there, tilt it up a bit, and you slide the body on out. Now, of course, if you're going to keep the same skin color, you don't have to do that, but then it's very simple. Again, you just take a minifigure here, slide it up, and then you take the head, and I find that doing it on an angle like this works well, and you push it together there, fill the gap, and you are good to go. So this is where the balls drop down into here, and again, because the table's on an angle, it sits in the back there, so you gotta kind of stick your finger in there, but they should actually fall down into here. One of the final things I want to say about this is just the design of the table. It's very beautiful. I really love the trim and how the stripe continues around every single
little spot here. I think that's great, even down to that one tile there included. Like, it's just so smart. I love the red trim, just the color scheme of this with the black and the white. Even little spots there around the little handles here, I think look great. All the slope pieces here, even on top, it is really, really great looking. I will say as well, they've actually got little rubber feet here. I don't know if you could see that there. That's wheels around a stud, so prevents it from actually moving. That's what it looks like from underneath. It's not the best looking, but again, with those little rubber feet, you could see here, like, I'm pushing it and it's not budging, which is very important because, as I'll touch on in a second, foosball is a very violent game as you're going. So I think that's really good that, you know, it's not moving. Like, it's a very heavy here. I'm gonna drop it. Ready? It's a heavy build. Really heavy box as well when I was taking it out of the cardboard box that shipped in. The other thing as well that I just want to touch on, one of the bad things I think about this, unfortunately, the build, is when you're moving it, you can't grab it from here. You can't grab it from underneath, because when you grab it from underneath, it is very easy to just pop out the plates there. I think that's a bit of a flaw in the design. I definitely think that underneath there should have been some more reinforcements there to attach those plates, because it's just so easy, boom, to pop it out. And I don't think that's very good, especially when you're moving it around. But I guess you do got to grab it from here and not from the plates underneath.
So included in this set is this little side section. It's for you to cheer on your team. So you've got the blue side and the red side there, and you've got even seats there in the back. So it sits 6 people all together there. If you do the math, it allows you to have a total of 22 minifigures. That means that you do have a complete set for foosball table that doesn't exist. So I don't really know the purpose of why this exists. I think that we didn't need 22 minifigures. I think that honestly, just even the fact that maybe underneath they could have a spot to store the different, because if it decides to work with me here, underneath you've got a ton of extra heads here. Like I said at the start, there's 44 heads and 43 hair pieces because one of the characters is bald. But like, that's really neat, the fact that you do have all these figures. It sets a record for the most figures in an idea set, but my issue is it adds to the price. It's just sort of unnecessary. Like, yeah, this is a really cute little facade. You've even got a little spot there with a trophy where you can have a figure holding it there, standing in the center. But even, like, I like the idea of this. It's very cool. I love the transparent parts here. Like, it looks like a soccer stadium there where they're sitting. But again, it's unnecessary. I don't need these extra figures. And yeah, again, you could have included the heads and stuff like that underneath the foosball table. But anyways, regardless, I do like the little seats there. They do actually bend a little bit back. I guess that's because maybe some of the hair pieces might touch that there. But I think that's pretty neat that they do sort of move a bit. The ones in the back, they're a little difficult to get into, as well as if you want to swap them out, you got to remove the ones in front. Like, there's no removing the plates or anything up above unless you want to take apart the whole build. But let's go ahead and let's take a look now at the insane figures. So here's the goalkeeper for the red team, and I really love the design, just the design there on the torso with all the little dots and specks going across. But the color scheme of this, I like that it's orange for red, as well as the colors for the gloves and a bit on the legs there. They're dark red, so it's the darker color of the team they're on. You can see a bit there on the collar as well, which I do want to mention, every single figure is actually gender neutral, and that's so that you could swap out the figures, specifically with the goalies, because they don't have any skin showing with their hands, or specifically all the figures, none of them have anything shown on the collar. But with the goalie specifically, you're able to just swap out the head, and it doesn't matter what torso you're using, which we'll touch on in a second. But that's the red team's goalkeeper there, and you can see the back torso printing there. And here's the blue team goalkeeper, and I think that looks great. Again, the fact that it's a color, a version, I guess a secondary color from blue. And then also you've got here the dark blue gloves and everything. I think that looks great. And here's what the back torso printing looks like. It's got a bit of wrinkles on this uniform. Here is one of the red players here, and I love the little uniforms. Again, the little stripes there on the legs look great, and the back torso printing, again, you can see gender neutral, and specifically all of the hands and everything, they do change on the torsos. You could change it yourself if you want, which, by the way, you could change them all to yellow minifigures if you want to as well. But just to show you, each of the other torsos have different colored hands so that you could put their respective head colors on there, or mix and match if you want to as well. But yeah, what's interesting about this face, by the way, it looks very similar to an artist on Instagram called Marcus Bricks. Like the expressions here, it is very, very weird. Like, that's his sig fig. I have to mention it. And then here's the blue team. Again, I really like the stripe of green there. The red team had yellow. I don't know if you saw on the collar. I like the green here with the blue. Really neat. I really love the design here for the blue team and the red team. I think they did a great job just designing these neutral uniforms. Also, with the blue team, I just want to mention that the captain of the blue team is the fan designer, which is interesting. So there's no official build for this. I couldn't find this in the instructions or any of the pictures that I had. This is like, you'll see in the instructions, an actual picture of him. This sort of looks like him, I think. Maybe the hairpiece, you could use something else. Like, you could maybe use this one to make it look like him. But yeah, I think that that's really neat. This is the first ever LEGO Ideas set to feature the fan designer in it. So I think that's a very special honor that he has there. And if you're interested as well, my favorite color is red, and if you want to include me in your table, you can go get this face. It's very common, as well as the hairpiece is common, but none of these are included, but you can have me as the captain of the red team if you want. So here's all of the minifigure heads here in the respective skin color, which, by the way, love these new skin colors here for 2022. I'm just so glad that we now have so many more heads in that color here. There's so many new face prints in here. Now, I don't believe all of them were designed for this set. I'm sure that a lot of them are going to be in 2023 sets down the line. But there's a ton of people here from Star Wars, Harry Potter, Marvel, The Office. Also, there's a ton of faces. That's technically from Overwatch, but there's a ton of faces here from The Office already, which was the last Ideas project. But really love this. Just to note, a couple of them here also have like sports goggles, which I think is really neat. We've got the first ever face there with vitiligo, which I think is incredible to have. I really love that. Also, you'll notice on the side of some of the heads, they've got little hearing aids, and that's not something that I believe has happened before for non-yellow skinned minifigures. There's specific hair pieces that can cover up the back of the head, some of them that can't. So these heads have to use those hair pieces, as well as you could see some of the alternate face prints there. They're really great. Also, a lot of them are like angry sometimes, or scared, or concentrating, whatever. I think that works really well for like shooting and trying to kick a soccer ball. I do want to show you the hair pieces here because there's quite a lot of them here, and I'm going to pour them all out, and I'm just going to make note of a few of them. But again, there's 43 of these in this set. There's so many in here. Here we've got a brand new hairpiece. I'm not sure where this is going to be used for, but really neat. You've also got one in the light yellow, and it's just sort of like off to the side. I think that's great. You've got the Superman hair here in medium nougat, which I think was in, as well as this hairpiece. Both of these were in the Germany minifigure series for the soccer team. What else? You've got the Will Byer hair here in black for the first time. You've got the little new hairpiece here from last year in dark red, which looks great. You've got Zane's hair here in orange for the first time. And then this here, Lloyd's hair in dark brown, a lot of people got excited about for an Anakin Skywalker figure. You've also got Shuri's new hairpiece from the Wakanda Forever sets, but in dark brown. And what else? There's a couple of other interesting hair pieces. Monica Rambeau's here. You've got the pigtail piece here in dark pink, which is the closest thing for Ninjago fans. Speaking of which, here as well for the racer figure there. I think that works. That's exactly what that is. First time here in dark orange. You've also got, where is it here? Here it is. You've got the Falcon, or I guess the Captain America, sorry, from the minifigure series last year. You've got that hairpiece here in this light yellow, which is perfect for a Captain Rex minifigure. But other than that, I think most of these, yeah, all these hair pieces, there's nothing new here. There are a few duplicates, which is a little like confusing me. I don't know why they didn't have a new hair piece. But yeah, other than that, really great. I really love that we've got all these incredible hair pieces, so many new ones, so many new skin colors.
Here's the instruction booklet. Unfortunately, it doesn't look aesthetically very interesting, I don't think, just that design there, but yeah, it's sort of the way that most instructions are going. On the inside, you've got an advertisement for the paper bags, but here's one of the first things here. You want to pause and read about the foosball table there. A couple of pictures there, people playing actual soccer. That actually would have been really cool if they include an amputee in the set, but because we do have that piece. Over here, we've got, again, some more information about, I think it's just mostly about soccer and football. Got a couple of examples of other foosball tables there. And by the way, there are actually ones that only have 4 figures on both sides. Just thought I'd mention that there. But continuing through here, you can see this is the original submission. Now, this was designed on Digital Designer, so it was never intended to actually be a working model. Like, it would fall apart for sure, but you can see what the senior marketing manager says there about this, as well as the fan designer. He's up top there. And then here, these are the Lego designers. They're on the right playing the table, and you can read about them there. And this is what the back of the instructions looks like. All right, so I want to talk to you guys about the original design for this. Of course, they were trying to make with the fan designer what you just saw, the full table. But unfortunately, as you expand it out, and they did have some concept models there when I was in Denmark, you could see and hear the creaks of them as you move this. Like the whole table, because it would require so many bricks, people already have a problem with this price. It would require so many more pieces, and then it would raise the price even more, and it would just be absolutely insane, the size of that, how many bricks would be needed so that it wouldn't move. So this was the best alternative. They tried so many different ways. The set was almost canceled multiple times, but ultimately, here you go. They did actually talk about the minifigures, and they said that the cost of including the minifigures and the story and the inclusion that it gives people with this set was more important than lowering the price of the set. They said that it didn't raise it specifically, unfortunately because of COVID and everything and inflation. The price of this did go up. It was going to be $200 originally, I believe, was the original listings for this set number. So, yeah, that's a little sad. I know that does put it out of people's price range, but the number one thing that I've seen people say is just buy a regular foosball table. I can say the exact same thing about so many other sets. Go buy yourself a cheaper globe. Go buy yourself a typewriter at a thrift store. You can go print out a picture of Van Gogh's painting at Staples for what, like 20 cents or whatever? Like, you are buying this because it's Lego. You're buying this because you love soccer and football and foosball. So it makes sense that, you know, unfortunately the price is higher because of inflation. But I do think if you do the price per piece ratio, which is not something we often talk about here on the channel, but if you do the price per piece ratio, it's below average. People saying that this should be $100, $150. I mean this in the nicest way, but you don't know what you're talking about. There's no sets with the amount of pieces in the set, with 22 minifigures in the set, 44 heads, 43 hair pieces. That just doesn't exist. Find me an example. You can't. It just doesn't happen. And there's no licensing cost with all of the heads and everything like that. But love a lot of it. Don't like a lot of it too. So
pretty even set. Again, the price though, I know that I got this for free, but I would have bought this regardless. And yes, the price is a bit much. You'll see compared to other sets. But anyways, everyone, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the set though. What do you think of this? Are you going to be picking this up on November the 1st? Again, thank you to Lego/Land for giving this to me early. If you want to check out my review of The Office that I talked about here in this video, I'll link that at the end here as well. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hope you all have a great day. I'll see you all in the next one.